So I don't know if anybody has additions to the agenda before we begin.
I think
Okay.
this is strictly for a
Debriefing.
conversation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So we are bruised and a little battered, being the only article that went down at the annual meeting. And probably, well, I'll speak for myself. I won't speak for the committee, but I understand that decision. We needed to be better prepared to respond and to present and to have our ducks in a row. And so I'll just start it off by saying we need to have a record of everything that's been done on the fields in the last, year or two. It seems that we should have that in hand when we make a presentation, so we don't have to look around the room and hope or wonder who's going to respond to what somebody says. And I realize that what a resident says is one perception, but unless we can dispute a perception, we have to deal with that perception. And the perception right now by many, including many people whose children use the fields, is that we haven't taken proper care of it. That was one of the issues. I'm not casting any blame here. I'm just saying that that's the reality that we work in. And so we have to be prepared to either dispute that or accept it. And then the other concern beyond the care of the fields was the building, the support building, whatever we're calling it today, still not being ready to open. And it has been a long time. And people have an expectation after you spend $2 million that facility is going to be open to serve our kids in our community. So those are my thoughts. I'll open it to anybody else who wants to jump in.
I'm happy to kind of jump in next unless anyone else wants to address.
Yep, go ahead, Charlie.
So I have what basically is drafted as a form of a letter that hopefully you as the Parks and Recreation will endorse, that I will then send out to the boards of soccer, lacrosse, and Little League, kind of addressing all the questions that were brought up at town meeting. And I will start out by apologizing to the commission that I wasn't ready for the history to be talked about. I was all prepped and ready to talk about, how we're going to spend $3.8 million, moving forward. And was definitely caught off guard when we started talking about the history of these things and things that have happened out in the fields prior to my working for the town. As I told Mike earlier, I had a great meeting today with Linda Williams. She is kind of put all of her questions at ease. She is going to back us at town meeting, so we'll have the backing of the CPC at town meeting, at special town meeting, should this get there. And so I'll kind of go through the things we addressed with her. One of the questions that was raised was about the overall kind of field maintenance that's happening there on the grass field, which we currently have contracted out to a landscape company. It's costing us about $125,000 a year. And that's a full maintenance package on those fields, from everything to overseeding, aeration, fertilization. So we're really, we went out and we did soil tests before they started last year. So we knew exactly what we're looking at in our soil matrix, and we could kind of customize our fertilizer plan. To still work within the Nantucket BPM, the best management practices, but so we can be as aggressive as we can be to get these fields back to where they are, or where we want them to be. We had an issue with irrigation a few years ago, from what I understand from talking to everyone who's worked for the town a while ago. Unfortunately, the wellhead went down, and it was kind of during the middle of the peak of COVID, and they just physically could not get another wellhead as fast as they want, as they would have liked to get it replaced. The well has since been fixed, and we're up and running. And I was actually just 2 weeks ago out with Jenkins Well Drilling, replacing a wellhead out at Tom Nevers, where we had a well go down out there, and was speaking to him about getting some redundant wells put in at all of our locations, and linking the systems together, so we not necessarily have one run off of one well, but we'll be able to split the irrigation system between the two, which will allow us to better water further away from the start times of our games, and have a redundancy there. Should one well go down, the other well will be able to handle the whole system, and hopefully we can stay away from ever having a problem like that again. There was some question about the maintenance of the turf field and synthetic field. Rich Brannigan got up and said that that's never happened. And Linda got up and she had said originally they were supposed to send somebody away and equipment was purchased. That was all, again, kind of before my time. What I've been able to find and go back through is we are on a maintenance plan with a company, Turf Prep LLC out of Woburn. It's about $7,000 to $8,000 every time they come out here. We're on biennial, so every other year plan on the odd years. So they're due to come out this fall to inspect the field for us. And when they come out to do their service, they inspect the field for any unnecessary wear and tear that might need to be repaired. They do a full decompaction of the infill. They do a cleaning of the infill and then re-level it as they put it back down. And so that they've been working with us since 2019. They did do an extra service for us in 2020, which I believe was due to maybe COVID concerns. They came out and did an extra cleaning of the field. So that has happened. If that's something we'd like to increase the frequency of, I'm very open to do it. I believe that they chose that every other year plan for us based on the usage of our turf. I would classify our usage as sort of light. We put a lot of hours on it, but we don't have like a high school or college football team out there really putting wear and tear on it, tackling, sliding, and really moving that infill around. We do soccer and lacrosse, which is, and they're younger kids. So I believe based on their usage and the shock testing that they do is where they put us on that every other year plan for cleaning and maintenance of the synthetic field. Mike?
I just, this is great. And it's unfortunate that we didn't have all of that, but that's okay. I just think that we need to go back to either 2018 or 2019 with everything that's been done, including, as you mentioned, soil test, maintenance, when the contracts were entered with the turf field, and when the contract was entered with the other fields, just so that we have a 1-page or 2-page sheet that we're all looking at when we talk to some of these people. I would love to go to Mr. Brannigan, and I'd be happy to do that to he and his son, to talk to them, and somebody in the lacrosse world, and Michael knows the baseball world pretty well. We need to get the word out to them. And I used to say when I was superintendent, if we have something that we didn't do well, we have to be able to say, you know what, we didn't do that well. We didn't answer the questions. We didn't get the information. We have to be honest and present that. But here is what we've learned, and here's what we're doing going forward to give you confidence in us. And I think making the case for an extra field is easy. It's easy, especially with the denial of the master plan for the school system, and anything that speaks of artificial has a bad name. But that just increases our need for regular fields. So I think we can make that argument pretty easily if we can show people what we're doing.
That kind of actually segues me into the next point I was going to talk about, which is some kind of timeline thing. It's just, I don't know if we've really talked about it as a commission much, but even if we were to break ground, say everything, we got the approval at town meeting, we get the approval to vote, and money became available on the turn of the fiscal year. And if we got very aggressive and say we went to install the new field and do a full renovation of one of the fields, we're looking at a multi-year phased plan. You know, we can't tear up the Nobody fields all at once. We just don't have the space. So it has to be done in segments. And once we were to say to open the new field, do the renovation on, we'll say the south field for now, they take 2 full growing seasons before we can open them for play, which is part of the problem that happened when the fields were done originally. They weren't given that time for the fields to mature. And now you're always constantly playing, you know, catch up. So this project is really a 3 to 4 year deal to get the Nobody fields fully up and running, to get that part completed before we can then look to doing other parts of the kind of the master plan. You know, one of the things is a reimagination of the Delta fields. And in order to do that, we need to, you know, fix up Tom Nevers so we have a place, you know, for Little League to go, you know, for a season or two while we do the reconfiguration to build them new fields at Delta. So there's a pretty good timeline here, you know, of things that will need to happen kind of one after the other. You know, as far as we go, and I'm in the process with re-meeting with Weston and Sampson. We're going to put all these things kind of together into a timeline and kind of take down the old master plan that's, you know, up on the website, because we've had so many changes since that was done in 2019, and kind of reissue a draft form of kind of the reimagination of what we're looking at.
Should we, in anticipation of that timeline and the other issues that are out there, should we be talking to either the ice rink or the people who have asked for an indoor facility before we continue much further? Because in my experience, when you're trying to do get something passed that's significant, you have to get rid of the splinter groups that don't think something is good, right? Some people don't think we've done a good job maintaining the regular fields. Some people think we haven't done a good job of maintaining the turf field. Some people are unhappy because we haven't opened the facility. And now there's another splinter group of, well, wait a minute, you're talking about this master plan and there's nothing in there for indoor. So I just wonder, I'll throw it out to the commission. I wonder if we shouldn't be having a conversation with both of those groups and find out whether they're having a conversation with each other.
Sure. I had actually invited Jill Veith, who was on FinCom, and she's one of the people who's kind of spearheading the indoor facility. She and I have actually had numerous conversations about it. You know, about, you know, where it could possibly be built, how it works into the master plan, costs, and that sort of thing. You know, so she kind of thinks we can get it all. You know, all the stuff we want to do outdoor, plus some indoor stuff. But the key with the indoor facility is finding that home for it.
Well, that begs the question, do we even need to if the ice rink is going to fill that need? And it may not, I don't know.
It depends on, well, you know, I don't know of any plans they have. I know they put that indoor kind of stage to cover the hockey rink, but are they planning, do they have other plans to do some sort of other indoor?
I only know what I read. Maybe Merrill or Michael knows more about what the ice rink is planning on doing.
I don't know too much. I just can speak from experience. I know that typically the ice rink will thaw their ice about once a year for a short period of time. And in that window, they offer pickleball and other events to the community, which I think have been reasonably popular. I don't think, I don't know enough to speak on whether there's any type of expansion or long-term plan, because hockey is pretty successful right now. They are booked all the time with the current ice. If anything, they would probably want to build a second indoor ice rink before they consider branching out to any other multi-purpose indoor facility.
Okay, Meryl, do you know anything about it?
No, I didn't know. What were you? So-
I read something in the paper that said they had a new system of covering the ice, much like, I assumed that it's like breaking down the Boston Garden
Right,
for hockey to basketball. And that would allow other sports to play in there, but I'm not on the inside of that group.
yeah.
So-
I mean, just based off of what Michael said, having it only, be thawed for a month in a year or, however many weeks.
Maureen?
I believe it's a overlay on top of the ice, so they don't have to melt it. So it's like a 3-hour, 4-hour turnaround, and they would have to have, whether it's, volunteers or team members go in and lay down. I think it's similar to the tiles you were looking at for Tom Nevers, Charlie.
Yeah,
It looked like
it's
3 foot
It's bigger, yeah.
Well,
And then, but I don't know how organized it is, or if it's more of a drop-in type of situation for events that are going to be going on. I haven't been over to the rink in a while.
Yeah.
Well, it
I'll reach
certainly
out,
makes
I
sense,
believed it to
Charlie,
be
for
more of
you
a
to
thing, like
meet
if you
with
wanted to
them.
rent the rink space for a part, for some sort of event. Like instead of having to set up a tent, they would drop this floor, this flooring down. And you'd have the event in the rink space rather than, as an indoors, but not necessarily like a sports
Yeah,
Well,
facility.
Charlie, can you meet with somebody from the?
Yeah,
ice
I can
rink
call- I
to
can call
find out
Brian.
Exactly,
Find out what their plan is.
yeah,
Uh,
okay. Should we have Jill be join a subsequent meeting here and talk to the rest of the commission?
Sure, yeah, like I said, she was hoping to get on today. She was coming back from Rome. So I think she just missed the window. I'd actually invited I sent invitations out to all the boards for, soccer, lacrosse, and the Little League if they were able to attend. And like I said, I've got this kind of letter drafted that I'll email out to the commission. If you would all just give it a thumbs up, then I'll send it to them. And it's basically just explains point by point all the questions that were raised. And we are taking this, and I'm working with Florencia, the town, social media and web designer, she's going to break this down into more of an FAQ and post this on the web page. So it won't be in letter format, but it'll kind of have that timeline, question and answer thing. And then I guess one of the other things, it was the field house. We are this close. Last week they came out, they painted, which wasn't that vital, but the sealing of the floor was necessary for us in order to be able to obtain a CO. And so we're at the point now, we're waiting for the as-built plans to be sent in to the building department. I actually talked to Paul Murphy yesterday, and he's willing to sign off on this without the plans so that we can get it open. So I'm trying to set up a meeting with him, hopefully for tomorrow. And if he gives me his blessing, we'll open those bathrooms for the weekend.
I had a family member text me last weekend about how upset they were that the field house, the bathrooms weren't open. And I guess it was like one of the busiest weekends, and like there was only one porta potty, and she was like, can I put in a complaint with the Parks and Rec? So I don't know what the deal was or why the bathrooms weren't. Is it because it's just not safe? It's not like.
Yeah, so we as the town haven't accepted, there's a certificate of occupancy yet. And we
Okay.
actually haven't accepted the building from the builders.
Okay,
So we can't actually open them until we get a sign off, or until the building department is, like I said, they're willing to if they're gonna go look at them, and if everything's okay, they're gonna let us open them without an officially signed
got it.
CO to get them opened. I did look at it a little bit, I chimed in on Facebook on a couple of things, which I really tried not to do. And people are on Facebook, they're acting like this is something that we've gone out and we've taken away from them. And it's like, you've never had, like, they've never been opened. It's since forever, it's always been the 2 porta potties that are there. We really only broke ground on this like a year and change ago. And for a municipal project, to be, completed within a year is pretty good. It's unfortunate we had some delays getting the doors in the fall, and we weren't able to get everything painted and sealed to be open for the spring, but we're close.
Okay. Andre?
Yeah, I just want to point it out that I, unfortunately, those Facebook stuff got to me too. And being part of this commission, I feel a little bit offended with what they're saying there. I don't know the whole truth of the story, but I didn't like it. The majority of the comments, then, unless I find out exactly what is going on with the numbers that they post in there and all the comments that it's going under, I didn't like it. I don't agree with what they're saying, so.
Did we have anything else thoughts from Michael? You were at the meeting, and I don't know if Chantal wants to jump in, and I'm not sure who Quinn Veazey is, so.
Just quickly, first and foremost, I'm sorry that I didn't stick around at town meeting that Saturday. I was there for the, Article 8, Article 10, public school operating and capital articles. And then it was our opening day for Little League on May 6th. So I had to be at the fields. As it was, I had my, 13-year-old, 14-year-old running the T-ball 8:30 that morning. I didn't realize that this article was up. I could have been one of those persons that, could have spoken to some of the questions that may have been thrown out in the audience. I don't know if it would make a difference, but I'm really here. Charlie invited me here to get involved and for support. He's alluded to a letter that I will happily forward to, close to 200 parents of our baseball players. And really just tell me what you need me to do. I heard that there's a special town meeting likely in the fall, and whether we're getting on that or what that next step is, let me know how I can help. I do have information to share at some point relative to Diane O'Neill's Nantucket Public Schools campus-wide master plan meeting just met for the first time in probably since August, like 6 or 7 months. And we did talk about indoor multi-purpose facility. So at the right time, I can share more about that. But I think for the purpose of today's meeting, for why I'm here, please tell me how I can support going forward, whether there's a new article or whether there's a vote. I don't understand exactly what you need me to do.
Sure, and I can take that. So if the question 4 on the ballot, partly because the ballots were already printed, a lot of people thought this was going to get approval. So if we have support on the ballot vote, it kind of will speak to the select board, and it'll enthuse them to be able to bring it to the special town meeting in the fall.
How do you get support for a dead article? I mean, town meeting has already voted that down. It's like we have to start over. Am I wrong?
Sort of. My hope is that we send this letter to the board, and it's I don't know how to phrase this. If the commission endorses this and kind of asks for their support, as the commission, you can ask for public support of this, and if we can get like Mike said, he was out on the opening day of Little League, probably with a lot of parents who were out there, plus parents for lacrosse, parents for soccer. We didn't have a lot of the sports families of the island in the room for town meeting. It was an absolutely gorgeous day in May, and there's 450 kids I think enrolled in soccer. I'm not sure how, probably almost the same in lacrosse. That's a lot of parents and a lot of voters not in town meeting. And so the hope is we'll send this letter with all this information to the boards. I've asked, talked to the different head coaches to kind of, if the boards are on board and if they support it, to, forward it on, to their parents, and ask the parents of the children to support, this, because even if we come out and just get a, supporting vote on this to show the select board that people do care, we can, bring it to special town meeting. If we don't, we'll, you have to kind of wait the full cycle and we'll bring it back for the spring, for annual town meeting, for fiscal 25.
Okay. Quinn or Nikki, anything to add?
Yeah, I was gonna ask how can I help with anything? Because I'm not sworn in yet, but it would be good if I could kind of get the word out about, actually going and voting on this. So we can actually get it at the special town meeting in November,
Sounds like we need to approve Charlie's letter and let that go out and then point people to that.
Okay,
Charlie, is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, and even just, as the board and as commission, like I've been, anyone that who knows me personally, that I've been talking to, I've been just kind of explaining, hey, this isn't dead. And if you think this is something, we should do, support it on the ballot. It's about getting people out to show support for it. There was a whole separate Facebook thread about that. Jill jumped in on, and she was correcting people, saying that, because the name's like a current, said on Facebook, oh, this is dead, why are we talking about it? It's like, well, it's not. We want to show that, town meeting is such a small group of people compared to the people that come out to vote. So if we, as the voting mass, show support for this, it'll give the select board, maybe the push to say, hey, the townspeople outside of the ones that were just at town meeting do support this. Let's bring it to special town meeting, in November.
I see Chantal's hand up, I think.
Yes, thank you. I was just going to chime in, one about the town meeting. While I was there the entire time, I was serving as the assistant moderator, so I couldn't speak on this, which was very frustrating because I was just over there, stamping my feet as best as I could. However, Charlie and I talked about this at length after, and I will be there to support him at the special town meeting. But in terms of how everyone on the commission can help, it's encouraging your friends, family members, parents of kids that are utilizing those fields to go out and vote for that override of the article, because we really need that to be able to get it to the special town meeting. So that's going to be so important because, of course, we all know town meeting, people have work, there are other obligations. You can't necessarily come and sit in the room and pray that your article comes up on time. However, the beauty of the election day is that you have all day to carve out 10-15 minutes to get there.
Okay. Quinn?
Hey, Quinn Vesey, and yeah, here on behalf of Nantucket Youth Lacrosse and a parent of 3 girls who play soccer and lacrosse and use those fields all the time. I was at town meeting. I was shocked that the article was not approved for the funding. Those fields get a ton of usage, and every parent that I've spoken to on the island was similarly shocked, and reiterate what Charlie said, that it's a tough meeting to go to for parents with all the sports going on. And it's if there's that banter going on Facebook, if there's anything that we can do to have Parks and Rec recommend, or at least dispel any rumors and say, hey, there is an opportunity for the special meeting in November, that would be great.
Thank you. Well, clearly, Charlie, if you can get the letter out to the commission members, I know I'd like to look at it, and I think we have to be very careful in how we frame it, not just in what has been done, but what the need is, especially in light of the schools plan not moving forward quickly. So when do you hope to have that out to us? Because the vote is a week from Tuesday, am I correct? No,
It's Tuesday,
this Tuesday.
the 23rd.
Oh, right. And this
I'm
way-
actually going to email this to you guys in a minute.
Okay,
I have it, I have it ready. It's passed through, through Libby, she gave it a once over.
okay.
So we're pretty, confident with it.
And are you signing this, Charlie, as the,
This is so
Director, or are you
we'd be
looking
asking
for-
that it be signed by the commission and not as me as a town staff member.
okay,
So I kind of drafted it on the commission's behalf, just, having all the information.
okay,
One of the other things I'll just touch on real briefly that I talked with Linda about today was our artificial field. That was one of the questions that came up, at town meeting. And I've said multiple times that I'm going to cling to that field, for as long as I can. And I was doing some research last week. I found, Marshfield just did a big multi-purpose field over, or Mashpee, sorry, did a brand new multi-purpose project there. And part of their procurement process was that they have a PFAS-free field. So I've reached out to their DPW director to find out what they had, what they used. And that led me kind of down a road, finding a couple other products that are being listed as PFAS-free turf. So I'm in the process of requesting information from them. And I'm in the process of investigating what it would take for us to collect rainwater off a potential new field and test it. Because it'd be less expensive for us to replace the carpeting on our field at Nobody than it would be to do a brand new construction at the school. Our infrastructure is there. And so one of the products I found is based out of California, and if they're claiming they're PFAS free and selling that product as such in California,
Right.
I'm hoping there's something behind it because California is pretty strict.
so right now, all we're trying to do is address the concerns about moving forward with a
Natural grass field.
natural
It
grass
was-
field.
Yeah, I just,
And the rest of it. I don't know that we want to get too mired.
that's, yeah,
into that debate.
the turf, that's not for Tuesday. That was just to
Okay.
let the board, that was just one of the questions that I believe it was,
Yeah,
Mayor Leopard stood up and asked if we had any plans for it, and the question is no. Currently, there are, no plans to change it, to disrupt it, or do anything other than use it to its full potential.
I think, yeah. Okay.
So,
Other comments, thoughts?
any other questions about any of the maintenance things or anything like that? Happy to answer. Or is there any questions in general about the fields or?
No, I think we need to get the letter out, but I also think we need to get a list of what has been done, which is incorporated in your letter, but maybe not as, not line by line.
Sure.
Other comments, thoughts? Charlie, anything else you want from us at this point?
I think that's it. Like I said, I'll get this email out to you guys. Right after the meeting finishes, and if you could give me any quick feedback or just a thumbs up, and if it's something we're okay with, I'll issue it and get it out to the boards tonight. So
I just would caution everybody, don't send it out until Charlie gets the feedback and sends you a final, because there might be a slight change or two, right?
Yeah, I would. So what I'd ask is that the commission, read this, email me back if you have anything you'd like to, add, subtract, or make a change. And then I will, when I issue it, the kind of final draft with your endorsement to the sports boards, I'll then let you know, and then I can send back, I can include you all in that final draft email, and then you can feel free to,
Yeah.
kind of, send it out as you would please, or carry it with you to answer questions, or however you'd like to use it, I think at that point.
The baseball, lacrosse, and soccer moms and dads is a large and powerful group if we motivate them. I think that could be a pretty significant voting block, if you will.
that's the hope. And like I said, unfortunately, with a beautiful day, Saturday morning in May, if you had kids that were playing sports, you were on the fields and not, in the room at town meeting.
Yeah, I don't think that, quite honestly, it was within the scope of anybody going to town meeting that would be the one thing that would go down.
Yeah, it was, everyone I talked to ahead of it, and from FinCom, Capcom, and everyone else said they thought it should just fly right through.
Yeah. But you have to, and that's a good lesson for us. When you have a big item up, you have to, I used to do 3 hours of homework in case I was asked one question at annual meeting
Yeah,
about,
it's something,
about the school budget.
a mistake I
So-
won't make again. Like I said,
Yeah.
I was studied up. I had all the facts down to go forward with how we were going to spend the money we were asking for. I wasn't prepared to do a history lesson on things that happened before I had even been hired by the town.
Yeah, I'm not putting that on you
Yep.
alone, Charlie. I'm saying the whole commission probably, should have been better prepared. I'll speak for myself. So great. Well, thank you for your input. Maureen, is there anything else that you were hoping to accomplish? No?
Nope, thank you. That was the sole purpose of this meeting. We'll have a regular board meeting on the 8th. Nikki will be a voting member at that time. So
Woo.
welcome, welcome. Yay.
It'd be good to
And
have.
maybe
a-
we can report that the athletic support building is up and running and open for business.
That would be nice.
Uh-huh.
On that, Charlie, just another fleeting thought is that, people are going to ask how you're staffing that and monitoring it. Because if that opens and within 2 hours or 3 hours or 1 day has to be closed, that's a black eye that we can't afford right now.
Yeah, I was working on today with drafting an amendment to the bathroom cleaning contract. For that, for the cleaners the town has hired,
Yeah,
to get them on board with it, right away. And if we open for this weekend, like I hope we do, or next week, it will probably just be the bathrooms first. Until we are able to figure out how we're gonna, utilize best the rest of the space and how we're gonna secure the doors and who's getting keys and, have that staffing, stuff in place before we move forward with the whole building being open. But
Okay.
bathrooms are the top priority.
okay. Last chance for anybody to say anything?
Thanks for all you're doing.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, Quinn. Michael, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Little League's up and running. We noticed the bathroom crews out at the Delta Fields. That was great to see on those Saturdays. DPW is doing a great job of cutting the grass. I'm trying to get the scoreboards fixed. That's on Nantucket Little League. We're happy to support. I hope that letter has like some details so I can field questions from parents if they ask exactly what they're supporting.
Right. Thank you all.
Thanks so much for having me.
I'm very excited, man.
Thank you.